Break the cycle of autistic suffering. Break it. Clean cut. No more autistic suffering. What is autistic suffering? I mean, it sounds bad, but what is it? Autistic suffering is suffering that is caused by masking autism and believing that autistic traits are bad, and believing that autistic traits that are not universally maladaptive, and I've discussed what that means in another video of mine, taking traits that are not universally maladaptive traits of the autistic neurotype, especially social and behavioral and communicative traits, and making them into something bad. That is internalizing and creating autistic suffering for ourselves. Cycles of autistic suffering are perpetuated by autistic people when we don't unmask. Cycles of autistic suffering are perpetuated by non-autistic people when non-autistic people give autistic people the idea that something that we're doing that is inherent to our neurotype is wrong, it's bad, it's off, that we shouldn't do it. For autistic people, how do you break the cycle of autistic suffering completely and totally, clean cut, is you just don't mask. You just don't. And do you act autistic? Yes, you just do it. You just do act autistic. Don't mask. Refuse to mask. Adamantly make it clear that you will not mask in any way, shape, or manner. And adamantly make it very clear that you will act autistic. You will act autistic and you will break the cycle of autistic suffering. Okay, so maybe there's something that indirectly harms autistic people. Ignore it. Ignore it. It has no power over you and it has no power over your actions. Act autistic. Stop masking. Break the cycle of autistic suffering. For non-autistic people, I would say educate yourself on autism. Educate yourself. Educate yourself from the perspective of the autistic person or people in your life personally, such as your family member or your friend who is on the autism spectrum, or do research about autism from the perspective of people who are actually autistic. Much of the medical literature on autism that you can find in places like the CDC, Autism Speaks, other so-called autism organizations provides a very one-sided view of autism, provides a view of autism that is only focused on children with higher support needs, and provides a very slanderous depiction of autism as if we're only a series of deficits and not complex human beings with a complex neurotype such as autism. Do research on autism from an autistic perspective. There are people who are on the autism spectrum with low support needs, with high support needs, who are young, who are old, who are speakers, who are non-speakers, who are somewhere in between in the whole speaking realm. And they have created excellent and readily available content to help you learn about autism. The excuse that I don't understand autism or I'm ignorant about it is a absolutely pathetic excuse. 1 out of 30 people, perhaps as many as that, are autistic, which means if you exist in this world and you are not autistic, chances are you have A, a family member, B, a friend, C, a coworker, D, a classmate, E, a student, F, someone who is employed in your workplace, or G, have some other sort of sustained relationship with a person who is autistic. You have to know your autism, whether you are autistic or not.